The Batman was released on March 4th, 2022, and stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and Paul Dano. I want to get something out of the way real quick before I really get into the review, and that's that there's so much to talk about with this, but in order to keep it a quick review, I can't talk about everything. I really wish I could, because again, there's an absurd amount of things to actually say about this, and there's so many individual scenes that I would love to get into, but I can't here. So please just go watch the movie. If you couldn't tell, I thought this was fantastic. I thought this was really great, and yeah, let's get into the specifics on why I think that is. The biggest question going into this was, is Robert Pattinson going to be a good Batman? And the answer is yes, absolutely. He's a great Batman and a great Bruce Wayne in this, I think. There are some people complaining that, I don't know, we don't really see a lot of Bruce Wayne, like the Bruce Wayne personality, and Batman and Bruce in this are, I don't know, there's no disconnect between them. They're basically just the same. But I thought it worked really well. I thought that decision made total sense with this iteration of the character, and I'm glad that they went with that. I think it would have been weird if when he switches into Bruce Wayne that he turns into like Christian Bale from the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't think it would have worked here. And Robert Pattinson isn't the only one who's incredible here. Everyone else is great, with Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell being the other two standouts for me. This thing is visually stunning in every way and has such an insane attention to detail when it comes to the shot compositions and how they're framing everything. And just everything on the cinematography side is absolutely stunning. There's a shot right when the movie starts. I won't spoil nothing. This will be a completely spoiler-free review. But I'll just say that in the background of the shot, you can just barely see something in the shadows. And if you've seen Hereditary, which is one of my favorite horror movies, and you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. And I love that. I love whenever anything does something like that. And it's stuff like that with incredible attention to detail. I don't know, just great looking shots from start to finish. It's really great. The score by Michael Giacchino, I think that's how I say his name, it fits the mood of the film extremely well. It's nothing like that you're going to go like love on its own, like as a piece of music, but for the movie, it was great, and there's a reason why this guy is like one of the most popular composers out there. The villains were absolutely incredible and extremely intimidating in this, which I wasn't totally expecting, if I'm being honest. I don't know what I was expecting from the Riddler. I tried to kind of avoid as many trailers as I could. I saw one of them, and then after that I was just, out, and I was trying to avoid as much as I could. I don't know, I remember the costume for the Riddler got released. Twitter kind of made fun of it, and then it moved on, and I didn't think that he would be as good as he is here. And same goes for the Penguin. He's played excellently by Colin Farrell, who is unrecognizable here. It's insane. Yeah, they're both really good and really intimidating villains that I enjoyed a lot. I also love that this movie isn't scared to go to some intense places, and it feels like they desperately wanted it to be rated R. There's a moment in this movie where I literally leaned over to my sister and said that they straight up put a guy in a saw trap, because that's what it felt like. There are a lot of moments where they could have went so much further with the violence here, but they didn't. But it felt like they really wanted to. That's not a complaint. I don't care. I thought that it was executed very well for being a PG-13 movie. It's just something I noticed. I really, really loved the subtle but powerful change that Batman goes through over the course of this film. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's this change that isn't the most noticeable thing ever, but it's fantastically done. It's not like he overgoes this like incredible change in his personality and who he is as a person, because he's not. Bruce Wayne is pretty much the same person at the end of the film as he is at the beginning. But it's more so like what he does with his actions, I guess, that changes. You'll understand if you've seen the movie. The fight choreography is all fantastic, and I love the way that the fights are shot, and there's not a ton of fights here, but when they come, they're incredible. That's really important for me, because I hate when you get something like Batman Begins, which is an otherwise pretty solid movie, that just gets completely dragged down by its abysmal fight scenes. There's no shaky cam, quick cuts here. It's all mostly shot in these incredible wide shots that let you see everything and really take in the action, and I loved it. This is also incredible at showing how Batman has struck fear into pretty much any criminal committing crime. There's a great sequence near the beginning where you have these criminals committing a crime and then looking into this alleyway, right? And it shows like 2 or 3 instances of this happening, and they look into this dark alleyway, and Batman is not there, but they're scared that he is there, and that's just kind of a great way of instantly showing, hey, this guy has struck fear into the hearts of, all the criminals in Gotham, and that's kind of a theme that runs throughout the movie, and something that's brought up a lot So they did a fantastic job of setting that up early and going through with it. The last thing I want to say here is that this is the best film version of Gordon. He was incredible in this movie. He was extremely laid back and chill, which I wasn't completely expecting, but I was totally into it. I think from the movies I've seen, I've seen most of them, but I haven't seen all of them. From the movies I've seen, this feels like the one where Gordon and Batman have a friendship the most, if that makes sense. The other movies, a lot of the time, they just feel like acquaintances, but they feel like they're getting a little close in this movie, which is really cool. I like that a lot. And yeah, that's all I really want to say. Again, there's a ton more to talk about. As for the bad, there's really a couple things that aren't a big deal at all, that do not really bring down the movie at all. One small, extremely nitpicky thing is I feel like this thing has like 3 or 4 different endings. If you don't know what I mean, I just think that there are multiple points where they could have ended the movie, and it feels like, okay, they're about to cut to black, but then they don't, and they keep doing that over and over, and I don't love when movies do that, and it got a little distracting here. The other thing is extremely spoilery if I say it, so I'm just going to say that there's a character that shows up that I don't think needed to show up, and it felt extremely out of place and kind of forced, and I'll just say that. Yeah, you'll just have to go see for yourself what that is, what I'm talking about. It's an interesting idea on paper, I guess, but it feels completely out of place in this type of movie. And yeah, that's really the only complaints, and those are extremely nitpicky in such small parts of this massive movie. Like I said earlier, I really wish I could go into more specifics on individual scenes. It's wild to me that anyone could not enjoy this movie, because this thing is 3 hours long and really doesn't feel like it. The pacing's fantastic, which is something else I forgot to mention. So yeah, I'm going to give The Batman a 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it, and I highly recommend everyone go see it. It's movies like this that makes me realize that what DC has been doing in the past few years is infinitely better than Marvel, and I honestly think they've probably been better than Marvel since, like, Infinity War came out. Ever since Aquaman, they've just been on a roll, in my opinion, and I'm worried it's going to end this year, because we got some movies that don't look great, but I'll keep my hopes high. I'll keep my hopes high, and I'll hope we get more of this Batman. Let's get some more Robert Pattinson in this role, because it was really great. They left it open, and I'm really excited. I would love some more Catwoman too, some more Selena. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow I'll probably put up a quick review of Euphoria, maybe. Yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one.